Hi guys, welcome once again to my channel. Thank you for always coming back. And if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Peace and I live and work in Japan. On this channel, I share information on how people can get English teaching jobs in Japan and of course move to Japan. So don't forget to subscribe before the end of this video. So today's video is for some special people. Well, everyone is special, Joe, but this is for some particular people. So in a few months, some people would be on their way to Japan, like from next month. And I have been receiving messages from them, asking questions. And one of the questions people still ask me is about proof of funds. So the reason these questions keep popping up is because one is expected to have a certain amount of money when moving to Japan. And people have been asking if it's compulsory for them to have that certain amount of money. And I don't know, I can't say yes or no, but I believe at the end of this video, you would get an answer to your question. So the title of this video is how to find affordable apartments in Japan, as you can see from the title. And that is because what takes most of your relocation funds is paying for an apartment in Japan. That is very expensive. So the reason you're requested to have funds, which is between 300,000 to 500,000 yen, it depends. The reason you're asked to have that amount is because the payment structure in Japan is not like it is in other countries. Here it's different. Here you receive your first paycheck at the end of the second month. So your employers want to be sure you have money to pay your bills until you receive your salary. And that is why you're asked to have, a certain amount of money in your account. So whether you have the exact amount requested or not, the important thing is you need funds to move to Japan. You need funds while you're moving to Japan. So in my opinion, the reason the proof of funds is requested by your company is because of the salary structure, like I have explained before. And in fact, the most important thing is for you to be able to show up at work. I think so. Because they believe when you're comfortable, when you're settled, when you have your apartment sorted, you would be able to show up at work. So that's why they require you to have that amount of money to sort all those bills and be comfortable enough to show up at work. As long as you can pay your rent, pay your bills, feed, and commute to work before you receive your salary, there would be no problems. So that's the reason for the proof of funds. So whether it has to be the exact amounts they request you to have or not, one of the things that take a huge chunk of your relocation funds when you move to Japan is pay for an apartment. So we're looking between 150,000 yen to 300,000 yen. And this is because there are so many things you need to pay for. You have to pay for key money, you have to pay for insurance, you have to pay for agency fee, you have to pay for deposit, you have to pay for sometimes cleaning, and at the end of the day, you are paying like from 150,000 yen to 300,000 yen. It all depends on the city though, and the type of apartment, which I will be discussing shortly. But it is expensive. So that is why finding a very affordable apartment is advisable. So that is why I'm making this video, to share ideas on how one can get an affordable apartment, because honestly, moving to an apartment in Japan is very expensive, especially for the first few months. The first time, the initial payment is high. It is expensive. Although companies do offer like housing supports because they want to ensure their employees are settled and ready to resume work. So they do offer housing supports. Some companies have apartments already for their employees. So when you come, you move to the company's apartment and then you pay the rent. Sometimes it is deducted from their salaries, but it's not free. Other companies would link you with an agent in Japan, that is from your country. They would send you pictures of their apartments and you have to make your choice. And when they send you the pictures, the amount, everything would be there. And then you make your choice. So when you come to Japan, you meet with them, sign the contract and pay. And after paying, you get your moving date and then you move in. So it's always convenient though, but sometimes these companies are expensive. The amount you get to pay is usually, on the high side. So I want to talk about types of houses in Japan, like apartments. The first is the mansion apartment, or like mansion type of house. When you hear mansion, just know that they are houses built with concrete, like we have in Africa. And the second type is apartment. They call it apartment. Those are built with wood, steel, and stuff like that. And they are usually less expensive than the mansion apartment. And of course, they are not really soundproof. So if you are living downstairs, you can hear the footsteps of your neighbor who is upstairs, because of course it is made of wood. Those are the type of houses in Japan. Next, I want to explain the layouts of the apartment. So we have the 1K apartment. 1K stands for like one kitchen. There is a kitchen, a bathroom, and a room, just a very small apartment, and just like a studio apartment. And it's like the most popular apartment in Japan, especially for single people and ALTs. So it's very affordable, it's very, comfy and small. So the second is the 1DK apartment. This is like one dining and kitchen. There is a dining table, there is a kitchen, and of course a room. And next we have the 1LDK apartment, like 1LDK, like one living room, dining, and a kitchen. So yeah, those are the kind of apartment. But I'm just giving you an idea of how the apartments are in Japan. So I have talked about the mansion type of apartments, the apartment type of apartments, which is made of wood, steel, and less expensive. And all these apartments you can find their layouts are usually 1K apartment, 1LD, like that. So the next type of house, okay, it's not really a type. Should I say the next kind of housing in Japan, which will take me into my topic, is the share houses. A share house is a rental place with a private room and shared facilities. You have a room to yourself, but you share like kitchen, dining table, living room, and other facilities with some other people. If you don't want to spend a huge chunk of your relocation funds on, apartment, like paying for apartments, then share houses are the perfect options to mitigate all the initial cost. And I would advise someone that doesn't really have enough funds, or someone that has a budget, to go for a share house. You can stay in the share house until you receive your first paycheck. This is my opinion, because it is more affordable. You don't get to pay for key money. You're not paying for insurance. You're not paying for all of those. You're not paying for that. You're just paying for your for the rent and maybe a deposit, and then you move in straight up. It's just an advice. So I want to talk about ways of finding cheaper apartments now. So one of the ways of finding, or one can find a cheaper apartment even without being in Japan. It's possible, because some companies do accept credit card payments from outside Japan. So it's possible. So before starting this process of looking for an apartment for yourself, especially if you're outside Japan, the first thing to know is your school location and your city and school location. Now, the reason for this is because you don't want to live too far from your school. I mean, the reason for coming to Japan is to work, and lateness is really a big deal in Japan. So you want to live in a place that is not too, far from your school, right? So if you want to find your own apartment, then you should look within that area, like where your school is located, not too far from your school. So let's assume your city is in Shibuya, which is in Tokyo Prefecture, and your school is also around Shibuya train station, right? So you have to look for an apartment that is, not too far from the train station where your school is. So you would go online and type 1K apartments around Shibuya train station. That is how you would get information about the vacant apartments around Shibuya. When you search for these apartments, you see contacts of agents and their email addresses. So you can send them a mail, you can translate the mail in Japanese and send to them, something like that. There is no guarantee that this method would get you a cheap apartment or an affordable apartment, but you have options. You would see different apartments. So you can check them out and make your choice. Before I came to Japan, I was contacted by an agency that sent me the pictures of their available apartments in my city. And just a week later, I received a mail from my company that my city was changed. Okay, and of course the apartment was of no use anymore because my city had changed. So I was not contacted by any other agency and I was worried. I sent a mail to my coordinator and they were like they were still searching for an apartment for me. When it was time for me to travel, I left Nigeria to Japan without still having an apartment waiting for me. So I came over to Japan. I attended my training. It was for a week and I was lodged in a hotel, so I didn't really bother. So but after the training, I was or during the training, my trainers spoke to me about it. The options they gave me were just not it. At first, it was far from my school, or they were far from my schools, I mean the apartments, and they were very expensive. So I kind of turned it down and they said they were going to look for another one. So yeah, just then. So after the training, I moved to my city and I moved into a hotel. I lived in a hotel for some days and I was supposed to resume school on the 1st of May. So I was still at the hotel, living in the hotel and feeding and everything, and it was really exhausting. So one day I was so sad about everything because my money, I mean, I didn't have a lot of money. I had paid for my flight fare and the money I had was, for my apartment. I had already started spending from it. I mean, using it to sort hotel bills and everything. So one day I just went online and I searched, like, I had to search for apartments around my city. Luckily, I was able to find one. And what made me very happy was that my landlord, who is an agent, speaks English. So it was very easy for me. It was very easy for me to communicate. It was very easy for me to send mail, and he replied in English. We exchanged contacts. He called me the next day. We did video call. Everything was settled in less than 48 hours. So I was so excited. I had to send my coordinators an email, and I told them that I had found an apartment and I really do not want them to, bother anymore because the apartment they were showing 250,000 yen. The second was 300,000 yen. I was like, that was too much. And I had spent from the money already paying hotel, bills and everything. So that was too much. That was why I turned down their offers. There are agencies that provide affordable apartments, both shared and single apartments for people in Japan. And one of them is Village House. So Village House, like I said before, provides both shared apartments and single apartments, whichever you want. I'm going to put the link in the description box. So if you are interested, you can, click on the link and contact them. And of course, you don't need to pay key money, you don't need to pay deposits, you don't need to pay fire insurance or whatever. It's very affordable. So you may want to contact Village House and ask for an apartment of your choice, be it shared or single apartment. The website is in English and they have English support. So when you send a mail in English, you're most likely to get a response in English. They have agents that also speak English. So it's actually foreigner friendly and very convenient. So you can reach out to them if you're interested. Another agency is Oak House. And Oak House provides both shared apartment and single apartment. And the link would be in the description box. You can reach out to them if you are interested. You can go to their website. You will see, cities where they have apartments, and the apartments are quite affordable. You don't need to pay the initial cost like key money and all of that. So yeah, you may want to check out Oak House. So the next agency is Upperman Shop. If you are interested in living in the countryside, or if you are placed in a rural area, Upperman Shop should be a good option because they have houses in the countryside. And the good thing is you don't need to pay for key money, you don't need to pay for agency or guarantor fee, all those initial costs you pay normally, you don't pay for that. So the con is that they don't have English support, and the website is not in English. Although you can use Google to translate the website, very easy. And yeah, just go to the website. You would see affordable apartments, and then you would make your choice. Remember, it all depends on your budget. These are the agencies that have affordable apartments, both single and shared apartments. So if you have a budget, you may want to contact any of these or all of these agencies and then make your choice. So I hope you find the apartment that suits you and suits your budget. I hope this video was helpful. If you have questions, remember to leave it in the comment section or send me a message on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please like and share this video. Okay, I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.